Welcome, everybody. It is March 22, and this is the Ask Stuart Hour. I am glad that you're here. Today, I have no slides, no script. It's all about you, what you want to talk about, and I want to make sure we maximize our time together. This is where we do our group coaching, and my mission is to try to help you with your opportunities, your challenges, and also get best practices from all of you. So one of the great things about this is whether you turn your mic on or not, please be interactive. So if you want to make a comment, ask a question, share your failure or success with somebody else who's joining us today, I encourage you to do that. So please do that. I just want to make sure I have my volume turned up so that I can hear if somebody does turn on their microphone. And Gina says, just shout out again. Thank you so very much for help earlier in the week. My pleasure. She said, you rock. Thank you, Gina. You rock. Yeah. See, I offer this to you guys. If I can't, we have so many people in boot camp, and I love you all, but I can't spend, it's hard for me to do a lot of one-on-one coaching because I do that too. But if you had a document or a website or something you guys wanted me to look at, I'm happy to do it. I may not be able to do it immediately, but I promise I'll do it. And I like that opportunity. But as I told Gina, here's the deal. I didn't get the nickname The Wrench for no reason. I got it for good reason. Because, back in the day, I'd give my opinion without being asked. And you know what happens? You don't make friends that way, especially when people don't want to hear what you've got to say if they haven't invited it. But if my opinion is invited, that's why I like being a consultant and a coach. Because oftentimes I'm asked for my professional opinion, and I have pretty darn good intuition. It works most of the time. It's fun for me. It's fun for me. So, I'm just putting it out there. All right, so here we go. We're going to start off with a question. We'll start off with a Facebook one because this was put in earlier. And by the way, if you guys want to, Gina says, my web designer really appreciate your help. He went with you as you sent it. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I tightened it up a little bit. Gina was writing some copy for her website, sort of a mission statement, right, Gina? It was a mission statement of who she is and what she does. And I sort of tightened it up a little, crunched it up a little. People don't read anymore. They don't take as much time reading. Things have to be delivered in nuggets, little bite-sized nuggets. So I thought tightening it up and making it so it would just be just a little more remarkable. And it's all your words. It was all your good stuff, and I love it. It was great, so I'm glad we made a lot of people happy. Okay, yeah, so if you want to put your mic on or your camera on, gosh forbid somebody wants to put their camera on, you got to type it in and let me know, because I haven't figured out how I know that you want to do it other than if you do a request. I can't turn your mic on without your permission. Okay, so here we go, and I want to get your feedback on this, everybody. This is from a new boot camper, Maloney, and she said, Stuart, I realize boot camp revolves around affinity groups. I also have several speculative groups each year. The group leaders for these are well-known and well-liked clergy who have me arrange a group trip for them every year. Any recommendations on how to adapt your group lunch sequence for SPEC groups? Now, this is really interesting, everybody. What was the keywords here that have you a little bit confused in a good way? Maloney said the words group leaders. So she used the word SPEC groups and group leaders in the same sentence. So I'm a little bit confused here, but I want to take this on, because if you have group leaders and they're well liked, right? And they want you to arrange a group trip for them every year, it doesn't sound like it's speculative to me. It sounds like there's an affinity here. We define affinity as the glue that binds, the magnet that brings people together, the reason why I need to go on that trip. That's the affinity. Now, if they're well-liked clergy and they do it every year, that means there's history, there's precedent. People want to travel with the clergy, which means that sounds like is the affinity. I'm not really sure it's speculative. I think it's more affinity. What do you guys think? So therefore, you can do the normal group launch sequence just as I put it out there. I really believe it. So let's just say that it's truly speculative. Now, here's how I define speculative, and you guys tell me if you define it a different way. Mickey agrees with me. Mickey says, exactly. It's an affinity group. Knew I wasn't crazy. No, you're not crazy. I'm the only one who's crazy around here. A speculative group, and guys, tell me if you right, wrong, or indifferent here. A speculative group is really when you see an opportunity to market a great deal. You get a rep that contacts you from a resort company, from a cruise line, and says, I've got a great deal from you. Or you take out group space, but you don't have a group in mind, and you've got a great deal, you got some great benefits, and you're just going to go market it on a speculative basis, a promotional basis. Okay, so basically, with an affinity group, what you're promoting, what you're leading with, the secret sauce is the affinity. People want to go on this group because there's nowhere else they can find the opportunity to either be with the clergy, be together, do this activity, go to this destination or whatever. And it's not necessarily because of a lead price or a lead deal, because you're going to package. While a speculative group is opposite. Speculative or promotional means you get a great deal and you lead with the great deal. Now, I'm never a big believer that you should sell on price alone, my friend. So I would love that you could take that speculative deal, that promotional or a promotional group, and still package it up so people still can't compare prices, because you just don't want to get in the nasty game. You don't want to get in that nasty game of putting a price out there. Look at this deal, because then people will always remember you as the deal offerer. They'll always expect that from you. So I think this is maybe something new for you guys. Still take the speculative deal and package it up. So this way, because let's face it, your rep may have given that deal or other DSMs, BDMs to 100 other travel professionals, right? It may not be exclusive. Okay, I'm just saying, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Still package it up. But the way you're going to launch it is follows. I don't think you can do it with a group launch sequence truly. But I want to back off that for a second, because I promised I want to spend a minute on this. This is a wonderful opportunity to go back to your list. The people who have maybe that you know are looking for this kind of a trip. Or the people that can, if it's close in, they can make these choices, the decisions when a great opportunity comes along. I would never just block a speculative group or promotional group and say, well, I don't know, I'll put it out there, see what I get. I have a purpose in mind, because if you market, a free meal to somebody who's on the paleo diet, I'm saying not paleo, but they do rice and grains and pastas, they're going to say, I don't want it. So make sure that whatever deal you have would fit at least some of the people in your database, okay? And you're going to reach out to them. But I believe the way you can incorporate that into a group launch sequence is you can definitely say you've got big news, a big deal, a big opportunity. Please join me Tuesday at 11. We're going to have a conference call. We're going to have a webinar. We're going to meet down at the back room at the Panera Bread, and I'm going to tell you about this. It's a cruise. It's happening in March, and have I got a deal for you for those of you who have flexible travel plans. You see, so instead of just sending an email out, okay, you can do a sort of a mini group launch sequence, everybody. What do you think? You can still have a proper promotion, a proper launch. Don't just put it out there, because they're going to look at the number and they're going to say, okay, it's a good price, and move on. But don't tell the number until you launch it. Make it a big deal. All too often, we just put it out there and we don't make it a big deal. What if you built up to the big announcement and said, this is an amazing opportunity. It's something taking place in March. It's a cruise. Don't tell them much, but enough to get them interested. So if they don't want to go on a cruise in March, they're not going to waste their time and show up. Right? But I can go on and about this, and I like what I'm hearing, but what I'm saying. And another thing is this. How many of you have ever marketed a promotional speculative group? Maybe you've never used a proper launch, which I hope you will do now going forward, right? But how many of you ever put this out there and all of a sudden a group came of it? A group came of it, yeah. Because one of the things I learned from my friend, oh my goodness, yeah, he's a good friend if I can't remember his name. NCL. He's a super guy. I'm so sorry. You know what it is. Too much coffee, too much caffeine. I'm hyped up. Is that before you hang up that phone, whether you have a regular group or an individual, you're going to always ask, hey, any friends, any family who you'd love to go on this trip with? Any friends, any family who you'd love to go on this trip with? If you don't put that idea in their head, if you don't plant that seed, then who will? You need to get them thinking, oh, wait a minute, yeah, let me call such and such. Maybe before you know, you could have a series of little mini groups. But one key thing, and then I'm going to end this conversation and move on. When you market a speculative or promotional group, those are only your words. Those are your industry terms. Please don't ever call it promotional or speculative to the public because they don't know what that means. And don't say the word group. If somebody says, oh, listen, I have a small group of my friends who may want to go. How many cabins do you have? How many rooms do you have? Fine. Then they're going to turn it into a group. But if you say I've got speculative or I've got promotional or I've taken out group space, then you may give the impression to people that there's going to be a group of people. And you know, most people, they don't want to travel with strangers, even though maybe you're going to end up with great 10, 20, 30 people going on a spec group date. But they don't need to know that they're traveling with each other because that may scare them for marketing purposes. You understand? It's just a typical vacation. All right, let me check the board, see if anybody's made a comment or question. We've got a lot more people who have joined in. Gina says Andy Stewart. It's actually not Andy, it's Alex. It's Alex. Andy is a good friend of mine, but it's Alex at NCL. Thank you, Gina, for that. All right, any comments, any questions on that? Then we're going to go to the next question. If nobody types anything in, let's see who has joined us. Elaine has joined us. Elaine, is this your, no, this is your second Ask Stuart Hour. Welcome. Hello, Jean Ann. Welcome. I think, Jean Ann, you had joined us on, yeah, I did it at Mike Marsheb, my good friend. And I always mention his name because he's a good friend, a mentor, and a competitor. We compete for the same speaking gigs, really. Our greatest joy is getting a speaking gig, a training gig, a keynote at the same conference, and we're hoping it happens again this year. But I think you were on, I think you joined us when he did that interview of me. We talked about groups and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Lori is here. Hello, Lori. Judy. Who else? A lot of people have joined in, so sorry if I don't get to everybody, but I'm so, Shu Chen is here. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is super cool. Really, I love it to have so many people in the house. And remember, if you can come for 15 minutes, join us here in the Ask Stuart Hour, do it. You know, if you join the last 15 minutes, that's fine too. You know, I record these 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times the recording actually works. And 50% of the time I can speak fluently. All right, so I'm looking at the question board. Nobody's typed anything in, so we're going to go now. I've got a bunch of questions here that people have put on Facebook, and I'm going to take on them. And if you have a question or if you want to put your microphone on so we can hear your magnificent, crisp, clear voice, and perhaps you can speak better than me, then let me know. Okay. Sam asks this from Travel and Good Company. Listen up, everybody. My friend and client is chairing the Junior League's annual volunteer recognition event. It's a huge event. This person has invited her to check out the group because she wants Sam to be a guest speaker at one of the luncheons or dinners this year. Sam's friend will be so busy that it's going to be up to Sam to go and network. So she's been invited. So here's a question. Other than my friend, I won't know his soul. So definitely out of my comfort zone. So I'm reading her words. Do I need to find out from my friend who the key people are to make sure I meet them, or just kind of go with the flow with no agenda? I just can't figure out if I should go, keep a little profile, check out the organization, or if this is the right time for me to make a point of arriving early try to meet your organization's key people, and then use it as an opportunity to mingle. Yes, 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 yes. You know, first of all, I think it's very exciting, Sam. Congratulations that it looks like you're going to be invited to be a speaker at one of these events. That's very exciting. And I think, Sam, the opportunity, and this goes for all of you, you know, to go to be invited is huge. Wonderful opportunity to showcase who you are, to share some of your expertise. And just remember this, always think of the audience first. Take it from me, you know, my biggest passion is doing this, do what I do, but being on stage and speaking. Now, companies hire me to do a speech, but I can't just speak, I can't just talk about what I want to talk about. I need to know what the audience needs to hear. I need to know what the mission is. You know, so that when I get off that stage, that audience has a new directive, has a new passion, has some answers, has some solutions. We'll take action. We'll do something with what I've taught. The worst thing in the world is, you know, the next day the audience wakes up and goes, oh yeah, he was good. You know, good speaker. I don't remember his name. I don't remember what he talked about. So that just goes for everybody, and you too, Sam. And perhaps, Sam, you've done this before, preaching to the choir, but I just want to let you know. So one of the ways I know what the audience needs to hear is, of course, talking and asking lots of questions for the person who's hiring me. And Sam, in your case, your friend / client, okay? So you want to understand the history, who's spoken before, tell me about the audience, what do they need to hear, what do you expect of me, this kind of stuff. What would make a great speech, okay? And then make it your own, of course, to share your own experiences, your story. But the opportunity to meet the people and mingle with the people is, yes, is critical. You want to go there, you want to get there early because you want to see the lay of the land. You want to be there for an entire event so that the day you're speaking, there are no surprises. You know the operational procedure. You know there's mix and mingle, you know there's cocktails, and then you know there's the speaker, then you know there's Q&A, then you go home, you wrap it up. You know what I mean? So it'll give you a chance to get the lay of the land, to know. Okay, it's just like me. When I do a speaking gig, I usually don't have an opportunity to go to that kind of an event prior, but I will always ask to be flown down a day or two early. And I ask to go to any kind of event, even a social event, because I want to meet the people, shake the hands, introduce myself, and ask questions. I can't tell you how many times I meet people, I get information that I use on stage, okay, or that I'm inspired. I tell an anecdote, something funny happens. So I think it's great. Get the lay of the land, begin to meet the people and get to know who they are. So when you get up on stage, Sam, and you go to talk to the people, it's easier for you to connect because you feel like you already know who they are. Okay? And absolutely speak to your friend and say, may I impose upon you, you know, who are the most important people for me to meet? You know, and if they're too busy, Sam, to introduce you one by one, maybe they can either point them out or get the names. Go online, type in the names, remember what they look like. And when you see them, you go out with the handout and go, you know, Mr. Jones, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Sam. I'm a very good friend of and such. So there's the connection. Make the connection. So if your friend doesn't have time to connect you, get the names, look up the faces, go and meet them, put that hand out, and make sure right away, say, my friend such and such told me you were a very important person to meet. You're going to make them feel great. And also you're name dropping. Have you ever heard this? You know, like FOS. Do you know what that means? Not like the last time we said CYA and I didn't know what that meant. I do now. Of course I did. FOS is friend of Stu. You know, FOB, friend of Bob. FOM, friend of Mike. That kind of stuff is powerful stuff. So I hope that, Sam, I hope that helps. Let me see if anybody else has a comment or question about that. Hello, Shu Chen. Good morning, Stuart. Would you walk us through the group launch process step by step again? Step by step. We're going to need a long time for that. But absolutely, I will give a review of that for all of you guys. Yep. Sam typed in they have 25 charities who will be there at tables and to give out information about their charities who are expecting to go through that room before lunch. Wow. This is a big event. This is a big deal. So by all means, Sam, and this goes for all of you, if you're asked to speak, which you know, some of you enjoy public speaking. I bet you most of you don't. I live for it. I love it. Some of you would run from it. I know that because they say it's one of the biggest fears on everybody's list. But if you do get this opportunity, the more, even me who I love doing it, the more prepared I am going in, either to network or to meet people, or to get up on that stage by meeting the people first. That's critical. Okay, so I definitely hope that helped. Good luck, Sam. Thanks for sending that question in. Shuat, I will get to group launch sequence in a moment. Welcome. We've got a lot more people in. Welcome, everybody. We're digging in here. We're digging in. Okay, let's move to the next question. Now, this one, I don't remember who it is, but there's somebody in our boot camp who it talked about an African safari, doing safaris, is doing a safari. Who is it? Who are you? I have to go back and look at prior notes and on Facebook too. Diane says, my dream, this is from Facebook, is to lead a group on an African safari. So what I love about this right off the bat, everybody, is that it's Diane's dream. Here's when you can become the group leader, everybody. I'm a big believer in this. Doing groups doesn't mean you always have to go out and either find a group leader or create a group leader. Doing groups means you can be your own group leader if you have a passion, you have a hobby. I keep bringing this up to you guys. You know about my river cruise group. Kimberly and I love it so much we wanted to go again. After we got back from our honeymoon, we told all of our friends and family. They were green with envy. They was, oh my God, that sounds great. We've always wanted a river cruise. So before we decided we wanted to go back again and book it, we said, you know what? Let's do something and invite our friends and family. So we're the group leaders, and it's working beautifully. My mom is coming. Kimberly's parents are coming. We have some of our best local friends coming, people from all over the country, friends and family. And I'm using group launch sequence. I did it. And by the way, all of you, if you want to see how I did group launch sequence, make sure that you're a guest in my River Cruise boot camp, because we've done 2 different presentation series, okay, to launch it, 2 different ones. And it's been very successful. So I don't just talk it, I do it. Okay, back to Diane. I have a large existing client base who have mostly booked cruises. How should I best approach this with my clients? All right. So Diane, I think this is very exciting, because the most important thing is that, Diane, you're going to be the group leader because it's your personal passion. You're going to do the group launch sequence to a T. So listen up, everybody. I'm going to run through the group launch sequence with you right now. I was also requested here on the question board, because here's what I would do with this African safari, even though most of Diane's clients are cruises. And by the way, I want you guys to know something. How often, how many times has it ever occurred that you're talking with one of your clients and your client says, oh, I'm just back from a such and such trip. It was amazing. It was awesome. And you're like, whoa, stop the music. You're back from a trip. I don't get it. I thought, I'm your travel agent. Why didn't you book through me? And your client says, humana. I didn't know you book African safaris. I didn't know you book groups. I didn't know you book resorts. Why? Because you've always booked their cruises. So Diane is saying that, it's mostly booked cruises. But Diane, I ask you and I ask everybody on today's call, for people out there who are only booking cruises with you, how do you know they're not booking resorts and land tours and FIT and groups and corporate trips with somebody else because they don't know you do that too? Now, I don't believe you should be all a jack of all trades and do it all. But I think you should get to know what your people need, what your people want. And granted, if they ask you for something that's not in your love circle, something you don't want to book, you're not really great at, then at least have the opportunity to connect with somebody else, maybe in boot camp or a colleague that is that specialist, and still help them. Keep them in the family, even though you may not do the booking. Keep them in the family. Don't let them book with somebody else. At the end of the day, you don't own these clients. They can book anywhere. So just because you say they're my client, what does that mean? So the first thing I would do, here we go, group launch sequence for this African safari to a big existing client base who have only booked cruises. Step number 1, The survey. The survey, everybody. Here's how you introduce something new to your existing clients. It's wonderful. What a wonderful way to engage. You know, my valued clients, I'm asking you all to help me. And this is Diane speaking, one of my biggest dreams is to do an African safari. And I'd love to get your feedback so I could put together the most amazing trip ever. That's it. Nothing about selling. You're looking for help. You're asking for feedback. Okay, and then, you know, try to make it 1, 2, or 3 questions. I like the 1 question survey approach. And maybe that 1 question could be, what are the most important things? What are the most important tours or attractions, or let's just say things for now, because I don't have time to really think this through, that you'd want in an African safari? That's the 1 question. And then you could list 10 or 12 or 20 different check boxes. Check all that apply. And then leave a box to type in other comments. Here's what's going to happen, Diane. All the people who have no interest in an African safari will not answer. All the people who have interest in an African safari will answer. Not only will you get good feedback, Diane, but you'll know who's going to be along the ride for the group launch sequence and who may buy it. So step 1, as I said, is the survey. Step 2 is the whisper campaign, the save the date. Okay, save the date. Step 3, okay, is this is where the toughest part for you guys. You don't open up for purchase. That's the purchase P, and then do the promotion P. You've got to do the promotion P before the purchase P. So now you're gonna launch the sequence of events, which is part of the promotion. A sequence of events. And that's where you're going to do 1, 2, especially for an African safari, Diane, and for others, if it's a complex trip, you may need to do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 different presentations. Short and sweet, 15, 20 minutes. If they're not all together, you're going to do them online. If they're all local to you, you're going to meet up at a place, meet at somebody's house, and you're gonna introduce the information in bits and pieces, bite-sized chunks. And remember, if you've seen group launch sequence, what's your number 1 goal of the group launch sequence? It's not to sell. It's to remove obstacles, fears, trepidations, qualms, concerns, issues, apprehensions. I can't remember them all. And in that process, if you have that mindset that every presentation has a theme, now we're going to talk itinerary, now we're going to talk this, now we're going to talk climate, now we're going to, you know, whatever. Got to have a specific, look what I did for boot camp, my river cruise. You're going to remove all those obstacles, those fears. But in the process, the way you do that is you're presenting features and benefits, because it's the benefit that removes the fears. So what you're removing, everybody, is every and any opportunity for that person to say, no, I won't go. What you're doing is you're giving them every opportunity to say, yes, I will go, because on your last presentation date, you're going to say, okay, tomorrow, and here's the next part of the sequence, is our VIP sale. Okay, however you define VIP or pre-sale, that's what you're going to do, 24 hours. And you're going to define who's in that group and why they're in that group. Don't make the other people feel bad, but you want to make those people VIP feel great. And in that last presentation, by the way, that's where you're revealing the price that includes all the things you've already talked about. Price comes last. You're building up tremendous momentum. And when they see that price, they're going, holy cow, it includes everything. They will not have to ask a question because you've already laid it out. They know what it includes. But of course, you're going to leave ample time for Q&A after every one of the presentations for that purpose. And then you're going to move from the VIPs to the general sale, 2, maybe 3 days, even for an African safari. That's it. That's where you're going to take deposits. And you're going to say when it opens and when it closes. And you're going to have time to regroup, see who booked, spread the good word, and even before you open it for general sale, let the general sale people know of the VIPs who booked. Oh my goodness, the group launch sequence right there. Right there. That's worth $1 million to your business. Shu Chen, please let me know if that worked for you. Diane, please let me know if that worked for you. But I don't care if it's an African safari or any kind of group or something. You're going to be the group leader or somebody else. It's a group launch. It's perfect. It's magnificent. And with that survey, you're going to know who are the potential guests. All right, let me check this. Let me check the board here, see if we have any comments, any questions. No questions, no comments. Nobody has asked to put their microphone on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour myself just a wee bit more coffee for you to decide if there's anything you'd like to say or to ask of me, because we're just about the halfway point. By the way, the next Ask Stuart Hour is April 5th. If there's an executive, a guru, a really smart person that you want me to bring in as a guest, there have been recommendations made, and I have reached out to people. I always, maybe once a month or so, I like to bring in an expert guest who's an expert in an area that I'm not, so we can get different comments. Hang on there. All right, let's see what we got here. Patty said, previous Stuart Hour, you mentioned about a workaround to get insurance in your package quote. Okay, Patty, a workaround to get insurance in your package quote. Okay, I think, Patty, you may be referring to when I said that we're really not allowed to, it's actually illegal to say this package includes insurance. We're actually not allowed to do it that way, okay? You can't say the word includes, okay? And this is great. We actually discussed this at length when I interviewed Isaac from Travel Insured, because we talked about this. And if you guys want to get the actual legalese around this and get more specifics, contact the travel insurance company you work with. Or only because, and again, you know, I'm nonpartisan here, but I love suppliers who love you guys. I know Travel Insured does, and I know that Susan Barbanel, she's their group travel insurance expert. Call her, because she's the one who taught me about this. I didn't know. Okay, so you can't use the word include, but what you can say is that you know, here's the thing. I gotta, you gotta be careful. I don't want to be, be on, they're going to come and take me away. They're coming to take me away. They're coming to take me away. I'm kidding. There are creative ways how to do it where you're going to say, here's our package, and you're going to list that. But of course, you will have to give people the opportunity to opt out if they don't want it. Okay, so you can't be built in with the price disguised or blended in. It has to be shown as an add-on. But the way you present it, it can be presented as such, and you could put like plus. All right, you know what I'm saying? So that it's not, you're not using the words included or part of the package, but visually it's shown as, just put a plus or something there, insurance, and then you add that number and then total it up. I hope that makes sense. So you can present it as part of the package without it under the heading of saying included or packaged in. You can use plus or something like that, okay, and still be okay, and still give people an opportunity to opt out if they want. All right, but again, I'm not the legal expert with insurance. I'm telling you what I learned, and I hope, Patty, that helps. You're welcome. Okay, another question about group launch secrets. How far would you set the time apart for the VIP sale and the general sale? Next day. Make the VIP sale one day. One day. Why? Because that's the way it works every place else. We have the Orpheum Theater here in Memphis. You guys may have your own Orpheum Theater where you have the Broadway shows come. We just saw Book of Mormon. Oh my gosh. And I won't make any comments because either you love it or you're deeply offended by it. So I'm just going to say we saw it. Okay. How's that for nonpartisan? If you want to talk to me about it after, give me a call. We'll talk about it. In any case, Now I get totally distracted. Because I'm on their mailing list, I'm invited to the pre-sale. I do this for, I must get, I'm on the mailing list for every single music place because I want to know when artists are coming in town, and I like to get good seats, right? You too. Whether it's Ticketmaster or whatever, there's always that 24-hour pre-sale event before tickets go on sale to the general public. You do the same thing. So it's the next day. And trust me, the VIPers, they talk about a way of telling people now is the time to book. They'll book. And you don't need to offer a deal, a discount, a special offer. You don't need to. Don't do it because you're going to alienate everybody else. Probably the only opportunity, the only upside is that they're going to get first choice of accommodations. Okay, but you don't want to get messed up in special deals. You don't need to do it. The fact that you recognize them as a VIP is enough. Give them 1 day, 24 hours. Get set up, get ready to take it, have a great, wonderful process. Either they fill out a form online and then they call you with the credit card, or if you can use a secure online form to get that deposit, do that too, because some of your suppliers actually will offer you the opportunity to integrate booking so people can book whatever. You see, make a customized site. So I hope that helps. You're welcome, Patty. I hope that helps with that. Okay, we are moving on. Nobody's asked to turn on their microphone or their camera or their questions, but I'm so glad we got a wonderful crowd here. Ann has joined us. Hello, Ann. Yeah, this is so cool. I look forward to doing these so much, truly and honestly. And I'm grateful that we don't have thunderstorm season yet, so I have internet that won't go down. Okay, here we go. Next question that was typed in. Now, you guys need to help me here because I am absolutely the worst at some things. And one of those things is the number one thing I'm bad at is proofreading my own text. When I write something, I'm a terrible proofreader of my own thing, but I'm great at proofreading somebody else's. The second thing is mispronouncing names. So, and you are Lene. I think it's Lene. I didn't see if you're joined us here. You are a brand new group bootcamp member, and I think Elaine, you work with her. So tell me if mispronouncing it. Lene, yay! Correct. I got it right. Yay, yay, yay. Thank you. I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome, new bootcamp member. Yes. Okay. So here we go. You want me to read this here? Okay. Yep. Okay. Perfect. All right. Here we go. Listen, everybody. Best practices time here. Lene, I'm working on a group where I am not using a tour operator for hotels or events, and I want to charge a deposit, but I cannot charge it directly through my vendors in case the group does not get enough bookings, and I will have to cancel. Can I put deposits into a business account set up for client deposits? Okay, so yeah, this is a condensed version of what you had posted on Facebook, Lene, and I appreciate that. And I know that there were some comments on Facebook already, and I want to echo them too, but I want to open this up to everybody to see what you guys do. So the whole idea is that, and I know you're going to be working directly with specific suppliers in Norway because you're from there, you have local contacts in the travel business, and they're reputable providers. They're inbound providers, which is great. I'm a big believer in that. And there's a lot of receptive, right? Isn't that called receptive operators who'll do this kind of work? So that's awesome. So, clearly the most important thing is, understanding their terms and conditions when it comes to deposits, because you may have to put up money and it may be at risk, and you'll have to look at those dates, and whatever those dates are, you're going to want to back up those dates so you don't put yourself in danger or in risk. So you do your group launch sequence well before you launch, so if you got to get in or get out. That goes without saying, Lene. You don't want to put your money at risk for the deposits and so forth. Okay, so that said, the answer is yes, to set up a separate account. It could be an escrow account. I saw somebody on Facebook had said a trust account. I don't know if that's same as escrow, but escrow, sometimes you do that also with if there's another group leader, somebody else involved, so you both control that account. So it's sort of a secure way of putting money in, so everybody knows that you're not going to run and go away with the money. That said, because that's very important for you, Lene, to know that that money ain't your money, right? That money is going to the suppliers. Okay, so it's a good for my river cruise boot camp. It's so easy to set a separate account, right? With your bank, you can have a dozen different accounts because it's all on paper. I mean, they're not really shifting the dollars from room to room. It's all electronic, and it's a good thing to do. So you and I'm sure all of you guys do that. You're business owners, right? But I think the most important thing to tell everybody is that under terms and conditions, when the money is refundable by, just like with my river cruise that I'm promoting, I have people, to make it as easy and risk-free as possible, I said, give me your deposit. Your deposit is refundable up through 1 year prior to the event. And I also try to mirror, I'm doing with Amber Waterways, their policies too. But also I made sure it's well before I'm going to be at risk losing anything, right? So you have to clearly define that. And then if you need to put levels, you lose 10%, you lose 50%, of course. But a lot of times, if you're using one supplier, they give you those rules and terms, and you just use theirs. And other times you have to make up your own based on all those individual receptive agents you're going to be using, Lene. I guess my biggest concern, and I ask this of everybody, is, if you go out there, here's the situation, and say, we're doing this group to Norway, here's all the information, here's all the details, and if we don't get enough people, you get your money back. That's hard. That's the truth, but it's really hard to go out and say that. Let me tell you why, or you tell me why. What does that message send to that audience of people out there? That means you're not terribly confident it's going to work. So everyone, I think, is going to sit back and wait. They're going to say to their sweetheart, hey, listen, why don't we wait and see? Wait and see. And guess what happens when everybody waits and sees? Canceled, over, money back. Very few people, I think, would tend to put up money into something that may not happen. So to be very honest with you, I wish there was a way, especially if it was before people made commitments with air and stuff like that. So because you don't want them to lose money. But and we can talk about this in the future because it's a great issue. It's a great comment. Is to be able to do the group launch sequence anyway. And don't say, I don't know, guys, what do you think? Don't say anything that if we don't get 50 people, we don't go. Now, it's different when it comes to a motor coach. I really believe that. It's motor coach tour. It's not thousands of dollars. There's usually no air. A local coach, I know some of you guys do that kind of thing, those trips. There's 45 seats on the bus, this kind of stuff, and they market it like that. I get that. But a big trip like this, I would like to be bold and say to you, go do your group launch sequence. And you're going to know when you do your survey, when you do the Whisper campaign, when you start to do your series of events, to see how many people are showing up. Because, Lene, if you need 50 people to go on this trip, okay, and you have 60 people doing the survey, 50 people showing up for the events, okay, not everybody's going to book. 30 people may book. That's just the way it is. Even Mickey Mantle, the greatest home run hitter of all time, he struck out more times than not, but he was still awesomely successful at hitting home runs. So even through the group launch sequence, you're going to lose people because there's something that they don't want, can't do, whatever it is, even before they see the price, my friends. If they stay through to the end, if they see the price, they're going to go. So if that pool is big enough and you see you've got 200 people sticking through it, okay, and you only need 50, you're going to be golden. And just in case it doesn't work, Lene, well, then, right away, you say it's been canceled. But I believe if you do that survey, and if you do the group load sequence, you'll know if you should go much further. You may end up canceling it, I hope not, even before you pull the trigger and ask for money. You see? Tell me, guys, do you agree or disagree? Am I way too bold? Lene says, Sam says, I live in California. We have a seller of travel laws. If this person also lives in a state that is that's travel seller laws, she needs to check those laws to see if this is covered. That's a great, great point, Sam. Thank you. Absolutely important. Lene also answered, this trip includes a motor coach. All right, well, there you go. So maybe if it does include a motor coach, you know, but it sounds like it's much more than just that. But, you know, however you figure out your minimum, you need to see how big the total audience is, the total pool of people. Because no matter how good of an opportunity this is, not everybody's going to go. You know, what I can say is if the affinity is strong enough, Lene, if you have a big enough group of people, if it's the affinity, why? Are you going to a specific group of people, Lene, or are you going out to your customer database list? Do you have a group that specifically, do they have history traveling together? Do they have a good track record? Has it worked in the past? There's so many variables here. But that would be my best advice. The sample survey, I've been asked if I have a sample survey you can use. The best sample survey, I'm going to see if, let me see if I can get a link to you guys, because I've done a couple of sample surveys, okay? One of them I actually did before I built boot camp, because I did a group launch sequence for boot camp, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. See, what I did was I created a survey, a one-page survey, a one-question survey. And the question was, so here's what I'll do, guys. I got to go back and find it. I'm sure the page is still there. It's just not a promoted link. And I will post it on Facebook for you guys, right? So you can click it and see it. You can fill it out if you want to. Basically, it asks, the way I launched boot camp was the same way you should launch a group, which is, what are your biggest challenges doing groups? That was the question. And it listed about 10 or 12 different items. Click all that apply. And I knew and guess what? You guys may have remembered filling this out. Some of you early boot campers, maybe you, Jean Ann, I don't know. But the number one challenge was not finding more groups. The number one challenge was getting the group leader to commit and deliver. How about that? Getting the group leader to commit and deliver. And I know that it's kind of a two thing. To commit is one thing, like to buy, to say, yes, I want to do the group. And I realize this after. To deliver mean they're going to actually do what they say they're going to do. But clearly, it's group leader issues, right? And number two was to find more groups. So it helped me shape boot camp. So I made sure I put a lot of emphasis. Plus, when I go to market boot camp, I know that more than likely, these are two big challenges. And you do the same with the survey. When you put that survey out there, make sure you put things, here's a clue, make sure you put things, you list options, checkbox options that you know people will absolutely want or people will not want as they see it. You know what I'm saying? So depending on how you word it, you want to make it provocative. Okay, so you don't list, basic stuff, but you can list things also that you're curious. I wonder if they'd be interested in go exploring local vineyards or doing bicycle tours, things that are options you could do at that destination that you're really curious. What should you build in? Okay, and leave that box. And by the way, just so you know, I create my own forms. I use a program, I've told you guys this before, it's called Jotform, Jotform, jotform.com. It's easy for me because I've been using it for years. It may not be easy for you, but to be honest with you, if you spend a couple of minutes doing it, it's drag and drop technology. It's drag and drop. So whatever you want on your form, you drag it over. The more you do it, the better you get. You can change the colors, you can change the size, the spacing, you can fancy it up. It can do really cool stuff. But you can do a basic, easy survey. Now there's SurveyMonkey, MailChimp has surveys, so I don't know. Maybe share with me what survey tools you guys use, because you don't need to pay anybody to do this, or maybe you'd rather not have the headache. Pay somebody to do it. Get it done, and make sure that there's a database that collects the results, and make sure that you get an email with the results too, and make sure there's an auto reply email that goes back, says, hey, thank you so very much. So I'm going to show you the one that I used when I launched Bootcamp to help. That's a great question. Lene says, going to second and third generation Scandinavians who are very interested in Norway. Only need 10 to go. There you go. I think it's great, Lene. We're talking about this Norway group again. You have a wonderful database. I assume you have a database, but I don't know if you do. You certainly have a great focus. I love groups that have a focus. So you can't be all things to all people, because then how do you market it? Who do you market it to? You shouldn't have to spend money on advertising. I think that's great. And only 10 to go. Man, if you got a lot of people interested with this survey and signing up for the sequence of events or the promotions, you're going to make a go of this. Lene said promoting to 9 Facebook groups, had 62 who were interested in doing the survey. Beautiful. Oh, and Lene, you already used Jotform. Super cool. I love it. Sam says, Stuart, I've just received a quote for a small group for Ireland that includes a motor coach. It gave me 3 different prices based on the number of people. Right? You guys get this too. So if it's 10 to 14 people, 15 to 19, it's, right, 20 to 25. So the more people, the cheaper it is. The pricing I'm going to use is based on the minimum number of people, which is the highest price. That way, I'm sure the group will go. I'm just not sure of the number of people who will go. Yeah, I understand that. Listen, everybody, if you ever have that opportunity where you're putting in a group and you've gotten a local price from a local provider, let's say, and the pricing is, is tiered. It's tiered pricing. It's the more people who go, the less per person. You always have to play it safe. You do. In that case, you got to play it safe. Go with the higher price. But perhaps, you can realize that you can build an incentive. You can leverage this to build an incentive. Now, pay attention. You can say that, hey, if we get, when we hit 20 people deposited, okay, or paid, because you don't want to give away something if people only deposit, because some people will back out and will cancel. So you only deliver an incentive when you depart, okay? Then you don't want to give cash back, that there's going to be a cheaper price, because nobody's going to want to pay more and wait and hope. They're going to do wait and see too. But what we can say is, as a special reward, a special bonus, and you can promote this in advance or not. It's okay to do surprises. So you can hold it in your back pocket and know that, hey, if you do hit that 20 and then you get ready to set sail or set ready to depart on the trip, say, I have great news, everybody. I've given you all a shipper credit, or I'm buying you each cocktail, or here's a little gift. Buy them a gift. Maybe you're paying the money because you exceeded the number of people, the minimum number, so your price point went down. You can either keep that as profit. By the way, you don't have to give it back, right, Sam? You don't have to give it back. It's okay for you to make a little extra money. You can buy, spend that extra, the $20 differential that you're getting in margin, and buy them a gift, buy wholesale, a gift 20 that looks like a $50 gift, but it only costs you 20. That's a surprise. People love getting surprises, right? People love surprises. Or you can go out right up front and say, listen, if 20 people cruise with us, or 30 people, whatever it is, say, tell them what you're going to do for them. And it could be that gift, but it's got to be something people really want. And again, it's a little dangerous when you do that, because let's just say with a minute 20 people, you get this, and then they expect it right away. Well, what if there's cancellations, and suddenly you lost it? You lost it. Then you're in trouble. You've got a hole. You've got a negative here because you didn't end up beating those minimums. So sometimes it's okay to either make a little extra money or use it as a surprise, as a give back surprise. And now, if you're a risk taker, one final comment, if you're a risk taker like me, instead of going with the highest price point or the minimum number of people, I would, depending how I'm feeling, how many, where I think this is going to go, a good educated guess based on intuition, use a different level, realizing that if you do have less people, then you're going to make slightly less money, but at least you're able to come up with package it in with a price point that's just slightly more attractive, $10, $20, $30 less. That, now again, you're always promoting a package that includes all this stuff, so it's never about the price, but of course the price point is important. So there you go. I hope that helped. All right, here we go, everybody. We have 3 minutes left of this Ask Stuart Hour, and I'm wondering if you guys have something you want to type in, ask of me, a comment you want to make about anything in boot camp, anything you need, anything you want. Did you just watch a module that you found to be interesting, updating if you had a big takeaway, or you want to share best practices of something that you've heard on this particular session? We've got 2.5 minutes left. And again, I'm so grateful that you're here. Let's see, Lene, how do you account for the exchange rate when pricing a trip? Exchange rate. Wow. So my quick answer is this: you need to see if those suppliers you're dealing with, if they're gonna lock it in regardless of exchange. If you're a year or two out, they may not be willing to do that. They may be willing to give you sort of a high or a low. Well, they may not go down in price, but they certainly may go up in price. How do you guys deal with that, the exchange situation? Because exchanges can work in your favor as much as they can work against you. We know that. I have plenty of friends who who are in Canada, and right now the dollar is real big. The Canadian dollar is low, so boot camp is expensive there for Canadians. I get that. I see that, and it fluctuates because some time ago boot camp was cheaper there and more expensive here. So it's kind of weird. What you may need to do, Lene, if the supplier is not willing to give you guarantees, what you may need to do is do what some suppliers do today. Whatever that local provider tells you, you pass along the same rule. Just like if fuel prices reach $100 a barrel again, God forbid, I hope they don't. I know there's many of you who say they hope they do, because there's pros and there's cons based on the whole global economy. I get that. But that said, have something built in that everybody knows that they're, based on currencies, it could change, but that also scares people. So see how those local suppliers, or call bigger suppliers, your friends, your BDM, see how they handle it. I think more often than not, it's those local, inbound providers that you have to deal with, because that's real tricky. I'm not an expert on that. I just know that those are the two things that came to mind. Number one is see if they'll do a guarantee for you. And number two, if they won't, whatever their policies are, you need to pass those same policies on to your clients, your purchases. Okay? I hope that helps everybody. Lene says she loved the session. I am glad. What is a good non-refundable deposit? Last question. Lene asked 10%. Usually 10%. But 10% sometimes scares people, so they always give them a window. Always give them a window, because in case somebody has buyer's remorse, where they can get their money back, some kind of a window. Because a lot of times people aren't even going to put up 10%, even 10% of $100, because they don't want to lose $10 until they're sure. So try to remove every obstacle or fear, even when it comes to a deposit, to know that they have 30 days. 2 weeks, 60 days, 90 days to change their mind so they feel safe. And it's not as if you're giving them a way out, but you're giving them sort of a security cushion, a cushion. All right, everybody, it's a wrap. This is really great. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session of the Ask Stuart Hour. We're going to be back April 5th, and I really am grateful that you've come and spent this time with me today. I hope you found it helpful, and I wish you the very best of success and happiness. Selling groups, good luck with your personal group revolution. Bye.